Hi, this is Mark Harrington from mybitcoinprofits.com with the weekly review on what is happening in the Bitcoin markets. Well, as you can see, the weekly review is not quite weekly because the last one I did was on the 10th of May. We were in the trade and we had to talk about how to manage the trade. So let's go to the charts and see what happened. We'll talk about what I did, and then we will talk about what I think is going on. So here we have the chart. As always, it's the Bitcoin against the dollar. It's a daily chart and the data coming from BTC. And you will remember that we talked about the stop loss strategy. My stop loss was positioned down here below the last reversal, and we talked about moving it to each of the reversal points. Well, if we'd actually done that, we would have been stopped out at this level here, so at this horizontal level at the 448 market level. I chose not to move my stop loss that way, which I did discuss, because my break even, my entry point was up here somewhere, and I did not want to, well, the entry point is marked here. Here's the entry point, and a stop loss here would have been below break even, so I chose not to move my stop loss and to leave it where it was down here. And as it happened, that was a pretty smart move, because the price found a new level here off this horizontal level and raced upwards. The sad news on my trade is that it would have been really good to have captured this run from 436 all the way up to the top here in the 538, which is the current price. I actually exited the trade here at 472 exit. And the reason I exited the trade is that in the account in which I was holding this trade, I was under some margin pressure from other trades in the account, and I needed the cash. It was also coming ahead of a weekend with some important news coming through from that weekend. So I exited at 472, and so I made a profit of this amount from 460 something to 472, so $250 is what it was on my account. I was quite happy with that. And of course I've missed out on this run up on that particular trade. As it happens, I am long Bitcoin in other situations, so I haven't lost out completely. Now the question we've got to go through now is, what do you do next? Is there trading opportunity to participate in this run? And of course my philosophy always on this is never to trade the momentum unless there's a clear structure that we can stand on and work off. So let's just do that quickly. Let's just go to the weekly chart, and then let's see what the levels are that we might be wanting to stand off when we are. So there is a level here. There's a level there because there was a reversal here. It's a weekly reversal, so we'll do a green one. And so basically the price has topped that level. That's not a really important reversal level. These levels up here are interesting. This one here and this one here. And that's pretty well it. So this one here, it may be a pertinent reversal, because there's a reversal here and there's a sort of a spiked reversal here. So it may be a pertinent level. I won't bother about the monthly chart because we're in the zone in which the weekly chart is covering all the relevant data. So my preference would be to wait for this thing to do this and this off this level, or to pull back and then to run back down. But for my part, I am not going to be trading this anymore other than through my long holdings. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about what actually might be going on. Why did we see price race up like this? This is just a phenomenal jump in a very short period of time. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just show a couple of other charts, because I have a theory, and it's backed up by there is some data that indicates there is a fairly significant amount of Bitcoin transactions going on in the Chinese, from the Chinese market. The first chart I'm going to put up is what goes on in China. Okay, well, here we have the chart. This is the Shanghai Composite. It's the last 5 years, so it's a 5-year chart, Shanghai Composite. So this is the Shanghai Stock Exchange Composite Index. And what this chart shows is what happens in China. Is markets going along sideways, and then the speculators get into the market and race it up in a period of 3-4 months, which has gone from a level of 2,000 to well over 4,000 to 6,000. It's just monumental. And then the Chinese government takes action, regulates things, and then it falls over. So is that a one-off, or is that what's really going on? I've got another chart here. This is a relatively short period of time, so it's April this year to May this year, and it's a chart showing cotton. And what we're seeing here is that the blue lines are cotton prices in the United States markets, and the red line is the cotton prices in the Chinese market. So in the one market, we see the market running up and then going down, and the Chinese market is keeping to grow up. This is driven by a fair amount of speculative interest. Let's pick another one. This is the price of rebar. Well, you might wonder what rebar is. Rebar is reinforced steel bars that go into concrete structures. And the time period we have here is from the 5th of March this year to the middle of April, or to the end of April, and then down to last week. And we see exactly the same movement here. We've got a level of 2,000 and it's gone up to 2,900, so 1,800 to 2,900. So in anybody's language, that's an increase of at least, that's nearly 50%. And then it levels out and then it falls over. And what happened here is that we got some regulations that came in that made it harder for people to speculate in rebar. So what's the point of showing those charts? And going back to the Bitcoin chart, is that we've got a run up like that. The risk now is that the Chinese government decides they want to regulate something here, make it difficult for people to participate in this market. We could see a falling off. It's just a thought. It's just a cautionary tale for me. And certainly if I was still in this trade, and if any of you are still in this trade, I would be making sure my stop losses are here somewhere. So that's my quick review of where we are and what is going on. We do have to be aware that sometime in the July period, so sometime around here, so let's just draw it in here, sometime around here, so during July, we've got the halving event coming along, where the number of Bitcoin that are delivered when someone completes a transaction in the Bitcoin network will only get 12.5 Bitcoin, whereas they currently get 25 Bitcoin. Now that will reduce the supply of Bitcoin, but it may also impact the price, especially in the short term. I think longer term the price should keep tracking upwards. So just be aware that if you are still in the trade, that the halving event is going to change the price. A bit hard to predict what the price will do. In theory, it should continue to go upwards. And then last point is just to have a quick look at what's actually happening in the alternate cryptocurrency, i.e. Ethereum. So last time, and these are the lines drawn on this chart from last time, what we were looking to do is to look at whether it was going to break up, pull back and trade, or break through underneath this trend line. So let's just keep drawing that trend line. So the answer is what it is doing. It has rejected this. This is a false breakdown, and it is now starting to cycle upwards. We can't tell whether this cycle that we're in at the moment is going to make a higher high or not, but what I would be looking to do from an Ethereum trading point of view is looking to enter the trade somewhere here when we get a retrace back to this trend line, and then we'll be looking to go that way. I'm certainly very happy to be long Ethereum from my Ethereum mining activity, because when I started mining the price was it was about March, April, May, was around this level, and so I'm certainly looking very happy to be long Ethereum as a miner. But as a trader, there is certainly a tidy cycle starting to run here. The only risk is that this level may provide a ceiling, and we might get stopped on the way past that ceiling, because it's failed it once. It may be failing it now, we don't really know. So the preference may be to actually wait for it to break and then come back to that level. But from my point of view, I think there is a chance that there is enough space between these two to make a profitable trade, or we will well find that this trend line happens and that this point here coincides with this point here, so we could be entering the trade somewhere here, so sometime next month. So that is my review on a few cautions, a trading idea, and happy Bitcoining and happy trading.